like it's not going right. No matter what.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to the Joel Havea Show. My name is Joel Havea, of course, and we're coming to you live now from my home studio in Hamburg. Some of you know Marshall already. He's a very amazing artist. We're going to start with a little bit of history about Marshall, about where he came from, and how he got to Hamburg. So,
Male vocals challenger number 2 began his musical career right out of high school. He's from Chicago, Illinois. Welcome, Marshall Titus.
I'm very excited to welcome my good friend Marshall Titus as the guest for my inaugural show. Marshall is a talented singer, actor, songwriter and producer. He's a native of Chicago, Illinois and has been based in Hamburg for the last 8 years. He grew up in the classic era of soul, listening to artists and groups such as Gladys Knight and the Pips, Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robertson and the Miracles, The Temptations, and Prince. He started his music career in 1979, singing with local bands and doing background vocal work at live shows and in the studio. In the 80s, he began releasing his own records and had a number of dance floor hits, which we'll go into later. As an actor, he has appeared in multiple plays and musicals, winning a Joseph Jefferson Award for the hit musical Dreamgirls. In 1985, he appeared as a finalist on the nationally syndicated American TV talent show, Star Search. After this experience, and staying true to his roots, he released Titus Volume 1 on his own Master Sellers record label. When I was thinking about which person to invite as a guest, I really didn't have to think for very long. Whenever Marshall and I write and make music together, we often spend half the time talking and philosophizing about life and music. Plus, he just has so many great stories about the people he's met over the years. Whether it was the time that he gave Oprah a ride into town, or the time he met Miles Davis backstage at the Star Search final. Seeing the Temptations and Gladys Knight at the Pips as his first ever concert, and then almost joining the Temptations years later. Managing to see Prince's first ever show in Chicago. Or working in the studio with Dennis Edwards from the Temptations.
Say it again, sing it for me.
Don't start what you can't finish, 'cause in the end it's you's gonna lose.
'Cause in the end it's you who's gonna lose.
And then this is what I want. Yeah.
Don't.
There we go.
I got a couple of them. I think.
Yeah, I know you do.
Okay, let's. 'Cause in the end,
'Cause in the end it's you's gonna lose.
have to finish.
I will always be here only for you.
Don't start what you can't finish. 'Cause in the end it's you who's gonna lose. Ooh. That's what I'm playing with.
We're only really just scratching the surface here. So it's time to dive right in and start the show.
and welcome back to my studio, Marshall Titus.
Hey, Joel.
How you doing?
I'm really good.
Yeah?
I'm really good. Thank you for having me here in your wonderful home and studio.
It's a pleasure.
And several of those songs I wrote here. Songs inspired by Hamburg.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think it's definitely appropriate to play tonight.
well, I
Yeah.
think so too.
Raise your hands.
It's morning time, open your eyes, wake up. There's something in the air, can see it everywhere. I know you feel it too. What we gonna do? Send a little love my way. Send it to me right away. 'Cause the way craze, the shooting up our babies. What we gonna do? Ooh, give a little love today. We need it now, we can't delay. Before it's all over, remember that I told you, give someone some love today. Send a little love.
I don't just say yes to everybody.
No, I didn't mean to say that.
No, I'm just serious. It's fun.
So has anybody watching tonight seen the Just People music video? Marshall is one of the stars of the video.
Well,
we are all just people, but don't always equal. Let's just keep it simple. We are all just people. 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 We are better, always equal. Let's just keep it simple. We are all just people.
What's your favorite food from Chicago, actually?
oh God, I like so many things. But when I think of Chicago, or whenever somebody's going to Chicago that's never been there, they ask me the question. I say, well, you have to experience deep dish pizza.
Okay.
You know, that's the Chicago thing.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And wash me clean, 'cause it bees that way, bees that way, bees that way sometimes. Bees that way, bees that way, bees that way sometimes. Sometimes this world can be so cold, hardens your heart and freezes your soul. But just remember, when life gets you down, hold on, be strong. Oh yeah. Everybody say, bees that way, you bees that way, bees that way sometimes. Bees that way, you bees that way, you bees that way sometimes. Oh, bees that way, you bees that way, bees that way sometimes. Bees that way, you bees that way, you bees that way sometimes. Wow, bees that.
My roommate, Robert Taylor Branco, is not only a very talented guitarist, musician, he's also a very amazing cook. And since Marshall was talking about Chicago deep dish pizza, Rob is going to be cooking one tonight.
Hey, hey, hey.
As the day ends and the sun is gone, another 24 hours spent on my own, but truly alone I'll never be when I hear it sing to me.
What's the COVID situation like there? Do you know?
Tonga is one of 10 countries to not have a single case.
Wow.
Yeah, so
well, we need to be there.
True. I was actually there like last year, and
Wow.
and I should have stayed.
Wow.
You know, we're here now.
Okay,
We're
well.
making the most of it.
Well, good for them.
So, I don't know. What have you guys had for dinner tonight? Has anybody had pizza?
I bet you all haven't had deep dish pizza.
So we're gonna cross to Rob from the Robert Koch Institute in the kitchen now and see
Cooking in the kitchen.
see what's going on.
Cooking in the kitchen. Cooking in the kitchen with Rob.
All right. Good evening. As Joel said, Robert Taylor Branco. He's saying Robert Koch Institute. It's a little bit dodgy to say in English. We're going to stick to Robert Cook Institute for tonight, because Koch sounds a little funny in English. I trust you're enjoying the show, the very first Joel Havea Show. Special guest Marshall Titus, amazing music. As Joel said, we're going to pay some homage to Marshall's hometown, and that is the town of Chicago, pretty big town. We're going to make a deep dish pizza. So I've got the ingredients here. It's actually pretty simple. There's one thing I've already organized. I have pre-made this pastry, which, to be honest, it's sitting up a bit too fat. What you're really supposed to do with this is you're supposed to get it to come up on the sides and it sinks in the middle. I haven't been able to get that to happen, but what we're going to do is we're going to use the weight of the cheese, and there's a lot of cheese in there, to hold that middle down, make the sides press up. Then we'll pour the sauce on there, which is a Chicago style sauce, which is it's a little bit different than a normal pizza sauce. The main thing being that there's some sugar in it. Like there's this extra little bit of sweet. As you can see, it's kind of a little bit sweet, definitely very fatty. Big difference with the base is there's some corn flour in that base. It's kind of like a cornbread biscuit, some of the Americans refer to as. There is some argument about whether or not Chicago deep pan is actually a pizza, but I definitely say it is, and it's going to at least be delicious. So we're going to have a go at this. So normally, like I said, you'd have the middle pressed down, the sides up. It's a little bit sticky, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the cheese in so I don't end up with all the oil on my hands. And then once we get enough cheese in there, we're going to actually push it down and hope that the sides will come up. We're going to do this a little bit at a time. As we add weight on, it should help the sides to stay up. So you can see it's sort of helping. Very puffy. So the Americans, I don't know what you call someone from Chicago, but they normally use what they're calling this sliced cheese. They call it deli style cheese. And the main reason they use this either pre-grated or pre-sliced is that it actually means it dries out a little bit, so there's less water in it. And when you have a pizza like this, which you're cooking in a deep dish, the last thing you want is there to be too much liquid, because that's just going to go out onto everything. So we're, see, look, it's starting to work. The sides are coming up. It's going to be chunky. And yes, as you can see, there's a lot of cheese. It's basically a cheese pie, I'd say. So, that. I think this is going to work. And yes, more cheese. I think the weirdest part about this is that you put cheese down first, and then you put tomato on it, which is, it's strange for me as well. So there's that tomato sauce, if we can get this open. There we go. So we're going to pour this on the top. The whole jar. Look at that. Let's put that to the side. Something to even it out a bit. Now this is going to be a very thick crust. So we're almost done. There is sort of something a touch traditional about it. We are going to put a touch of cheese on top of it. Some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. And what I've done with that Parmesan cheese is I've just mixed it with a little bit of chopped up parsley to give it a little bit of colour. So we're going to sprinkle this over the top. Once this is on the top, then see, if it was two-dimensional, it would look like a normal pizza if it wasn't this deep, right? So basically from the top looks like a normal pizza. It's going to go into the oven now. We bake it for about 30 minutes We do have to let it cool for about 10 to 20 minutes before we eat it because of the amount of cheese inside it. If you don't let it cool, that's just going to come out everywhere. So here we go, in the oven. And that's going to be delicious.
I first met Marshall in 2013, shortly after he arrived in Hamburg. I was on stage opening up a classic Hamburg session called Rocker from Hocker, and I have a very clear memory of noticing Marshall in the crowd as I was playing. He seemed to be smiling and enjoying himself, and we immediately got chatting after my set. At the time, I was hosting a regular monthly live music event called Lighters Up at Club 2457 in Hafen City in Hamburg, where for each concert I had a different guest who joined me on stage. I invited Marshall to be my next guest.
And tonight the special guest is all the way from Chicago, Illinois. Make some noise for Marshall Titus. Hello.
The footage you're watching now is actually from this show. At the time, Marshall had met two young filmmakers, Igor and Rui, in his German class, and they were shooting a short documentary about Marshall called Marshall Titus, Just 3 Songs, A Solomentary, which you can find on YouTube. It was really nice to go back and watch some of this footage, and it's clear to see that we had a lot of fun at this show. Since then, we've played many more concerts together, and joined each other on stage for spontaneous jams.
Where I stand and all is calm.
Recently, last year, I was involved in Marshall's new project, Keep Your Head Up, Eye of the Storm. This song was inspired by the dramatic musical Eye of the Storm, the Brian Riston story, who was one of the unsung heroes of the civil rights movement. A huge positive out of this project was the formation of the Brotherhood, a new community of international artists of colour who have chosen to call Hamburg home.
Your head held up, keep your head up, keep your head held up. Your head up, keep your head up, keep your head held up. I'm not afraid of what you say or do to me. I stand on truth, and truth set me free. I am a man who sees.
Marshall is an amazing artist who is never afraid to blaze his own trail. I'm proud to consider him a friend and colleague who continues to inspire me with his work, his amazing voice, and his ongoing passion for music after so many years in the game.
Der neue ICE 4. Das neue Rückgrat des Fernverkehrs. Das Design ist Red Dot Award premiert.
When we're far away, these are the tears that we cry when there's nothing left to say. Got nothing to hide. Here I am. Take all of me. Be reassured there's no place I'd rather be than right here, right now, with you. Oh yeah, right here, right now,
Well, no, I was just thinking about it. The song is obviously inspired by the murder of George Floyd.
Yeah.
And the events which happened after that, and I think everybody knows quite a lot about what happened there. The question is, there in a country like America, there has been so much chaos, right? Continually.
Mhm.
We were talking about this before in the kitchen, and as a result of that, there's been such amazing art which has come out of this chaos. And do you think that? Do you need chaos to create great art, or like do you miss the chaotic energy of America?
No, I don't miss that at all.
No, you don't.
No.
Okay.
But as we were talking about, I was reflecting on the 60s, the civil rights movement, and, well, to me, after Kennedy's assassination in 1963, the country, America, the innocence of America, or the illusion of innocence, I should say, was shattered along with Kennedy's life, and so the country took a whole different, went into another direction, and then there was the Vietnam War, like I said, the civil rights movement, and especially in 1968, that's when America almost literally exploded because there were riots everywhere.
Yeah.
But also what was occurring during that time musically, it was like a kaleidoscope of music. And
some of the best music ever made.
Well, yeah,
in that period.
And also television was new. It was in its infancy.
Yeah.
We were introduced to the Beatles, who have strong ties here in Hamburg. Motown, soul music. The music was in a transition.
Psychedelic,
but we were coming out of the big band age into bebop, jazz bebop, into rock and roll, and rock and roll was the devil's music for white America. But then in the civil rights movement, or all the chaos that was going on in America, it inspired so much of the music. And Sam Cooke's "A Change Is Gonna." Can't stop crying, ooh, crying.
Just going through the motions, which isn't the best realization should have. And it is so hard to see through routine reality. So I keep lying, I keep lying, I keep lying, keep lying, I keep lying, looking myself in the eye. In the eye, yeah. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Bees that way sometimes.
It bees that way sometimes.
Marshall Titus, everyone.
God.
That was amazing.
That was great. I said, have you ever heard of Bayard Rustin? He's like, no. I said, okay, well, I think he would be the perfect person for you to do a show about. And like many people, a lot of people have never heard the name Bayard Rustin.
So also in America, he's not.
Yeah, most people, a lot of people never or don't know who Bayard Rustin was. And he was, trying to make a long story short, Bayard Rustin was a black, gay, openly gay man with communist affiliations. He
In the 60s.
This is before the 60s.
Okay.
Bayard was an activist, a Quaker.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
And he was a musician also. He played the lyre and sang, had a beautiful voice. But he was a human rights activist, and he was involved in the civil rights movement before it became the civil rights movement.
Oh wow, okay.
Before Rosa Parks sat on the bus, Bayard sat on the bus and was put in jail. This was like about 10 years before Rosa Parks.
Oh wow, okay.
But most notably for people to know that Bayard Rustin became Martin Luther King Jr.'s mentor, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who introduced King to Mahatma Gandhi's nonviolence philosophy.
Yeah.
And the March on Washington in 1963, Bayard Rustin almost single-handedly orchestrated it. He organized it. He put it together. I mean, it
wouldn't have happened without.
It wouldn't have happened without him. And also, McKinley and I collaborated on writing a musical, which the title is Eye of the Storm.
Okay.
And it tells the story of it tells about Bayard's life, but also behind the scenes of what was happening during the march.
In the eye of the storm is where I stand, and all is calm. In the eye of the storm, I face a world I don't belong. In the eye of the storm,
I'm not afraid of what you say or do to me. I stand on truth, and truth set me free. I am a man who sees things differently. You can't take my pride, you can't take my dignity. Oh, I am not afraid. Oh, I want peace today, and oh, I will not be swayed from my path, from my destiny. In the eye of the storm is where I stand, and all is calm. In the eye of the storm, I face a world I don't belong. In the eye of the storm, keep your head up, keep your head held up. Your head up, keep your head up, keep your head held up. Your head held up, keep your head up, keep your head held up. Your head up, keep your head up, keep your head held up. Your head held up, keep your head up, keep your head held up. Your head up, keep your head up, keep your head held up.
Keep your head up, keep your head up.
Eye of the Storm.
Yeah.
That's very good advice to everybody right now suffering in the lockdown, keep your head up, because hopefully we'll all be over soon, and there'll be some semblance of normality back.
Yeah, and I just have to add, and in the eye of the storm, find your peace. Find your peace and stay right here, right now, in it all, because, you know, there's some things to be gained in these moments. You know,
That's true.
Don't let it confuse you.
As right here, right now, I think you summed it up with the songs in their second set, Marshall. Yeah, just try and stay in the moment is the best advice you can ever give anyone.
Yeah.
How's the pizza going?
Guys, welcome back. Sure you're tired of all that music by now. We've come somewhere with this pizza. It does look exciting. I've taken it out of the oven, put a touch more parmesan on the top to give it a nice fresh look again. I am going to have to cut it soon. As you can see, it's rather liquid. We're hoping it's not going to go everywhere. It has been cooling down a touch, so you know, it's got like 5 minutes, close to 10 minutes under the belt. For cooling time, should really take 20, but we'll see. If it's a bit liquid, it's a bit liquid. We do have some salad to go with it, so to combat all of that lovely fat from the cheese, a little bit of something healthy here. And this is the deadly part. So it could just all go everywhere, because this is not like a normal pizza. As you can see, it's this thick on the side. So let's see what happens. Well, it's not completely running away. It's kind of a good sign. Well, it's still a bit liquid. Could be messy. Here we go. Yep. It's all right. I've been warned that's pretty normal for Chicago pizza. It's more like a pie. So sorry. There's definitely some liquid here. Well, it's interesting.
But thanks very much to Marshall.
Thank you.
The guest,
Thank you,
Rob,
Rob.
from the Robert Koch Institute.
Thanks, man. Thanks, guys.
We had a great time, and we hope to see you in the next show, whenever that may be.
And don't forget to say hello on my YouTube channel and Spotify, MarshallTitus.com. Join my mailing list and all of that. And yeah.